was actually a little different than I expected it to be. So we started out the year last year. We were actually considering leaving California. We were considering moving out to Denver, because we
Mhm.
have friends out there, and it's like we assumed it would be a little bit more affordable. And, we were just exploring our options. So we went out to Denver for a week and looked at houses out there and came to the realization everything we were looking at was resale. And came to the realization they were all single family homes. They were detached, so none of them were townhomes. But
Mhm.
we came to the realization that like it wasn't that much of a price difference to like move out of state for, and that it just wasn't the right decision for us. So we came back here and we figured that we would pick up like start with a realtor who we met because he's actually one of Drew's high school friends. So they
Okay.
reconnected and we met with him. We were like, we aren't in a position to buy yet. We just want to start looking and start seeing what the options are and, what have you. So we went on probably like 2 or 3 days of looking at houses with him, a full range of like, he took us to new build townhomes, he took us to resale townhomes, he took us to detached homes. All of those obviously are resale.
Mhm.
We went all over we went all like as far south as Chula Vista and as far north as Oceanside. So we
Okay.
went everywhere except I like was not willing to go to East County. So that was the only area
Okay.
we could go. So we looked at through all of them. The house we ended up getting, it was actually like we saw it on our first tour. So we started in like up north first because that's where his mom lives is in Oceanside. So
Mhm.
we settled in Vista, but so it was on our first home tour. It was the last home on the tour that we saw. And like we had gone around to all these detached homes in Oceanside that were like, like high 700s, which was like pretty much outside. Like that would have taken a miracle for us to be able to make that happen. I was
Yeah.
trying to stay in like the mid sixes to low sevens.
Okay.
And we were looking at all these homes, detached homes, and it was like, yeah, there'd be one thing that was good about them. Like the backyard would be beautiful, but the inside, it's like, oh my God, I would want to redo like everything about this house.
Mhm.
Or it's like one room in the house was great, but I couldn't swallow the idea of paying almost $1 million for a house that I would have to fully remodel. That wasn't turnkey. Like I was like, I can't get behind that just to have like a detached home. And then when we went into this model home, it just like it hit everything for me. I mean, it was like the way that the floor plans were designed were beautiful. They were spacious. The rooms were like East Coast size bedrooms. Like the master bedroom is like truly a master bedroom, not just like
Mhm.
another room.
Yeah.
Um
So
and
this was the one that you decided on. It's a
yeah,
townhome in Mission Valley,
no, in
new
Vista.
construction. Oh, it's in
In
Vista.
yeah.
Okay.
In Vista new construction.
Okay.
And the only reason why we didn't, and the prices were like lined up with like basically what the community offered. It not only were the homes beautiful, the location was perfect. It's like right in a central location to where we're right near, we're 10 minutes from downtown Oceanside, 10 minutes from downtown Carlsbad, 10 minutes from
Mhm.
or like 5 minutes from La Costa, like really good location.
Yeah.
And the townhomes were beautiful, but the community actually also offered a lot of amenities for the HOA, because that was another thing that we were seeing. It's like all these places would charge like $300 for HOA and you get nothing, like a 1 foot by 1 foot grass square that they're calling a dog park, like nothing.
Were those like the single family homes, like single
So
family
those were
communities?
like the townhomes. The
Okay.
townhomes were ones that were charging HOA. The single family homes weren't charging HOA
Okay.
that we were seeing. But they were all like very high priced for what I would call a gut job. Um,
Yeah.
and because I'm used to being on the East Coast too, so I'm used to like a different like size and like
So
pricing. And so
yeah.
it was really hard for me to get behind paying that much for something I'd want to put so much money into. But when we were originally like the what so this HOA is $400 a month, but it includes trash and it comes with a huge pool, like a resort style pool and hot
Mhm.
tub and like rec center, and like that was another one of the really big kickers for us where it was like, okay, I at least feel like my HOA money is going towards something, like we're getting
Yeah.
something in return for it. Then the prices at that time when we had first saw them, which was in like, I want to say May, were phenomenal. I mean, it was like for like almost a 1700 3 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 2-story townhome, which is the one we ended up getting. The prices were like mid 600s for the base, which was amazing. And then
Mhm.
the only reason we didn't jump in right away is because I was like, oh God, I don't want to like jump at the first thing that I see that like makes me feel something. So let's wait a little bit longer and let's see what else there is. And then the more and more we looked, the more and more I kept thinking about this place. And then my
Right.
parents came out to visit in July and I went and came and showed them and they were like, yes,
Yeah.
they're like, do this. So
And
we
you,
did.
because it was like a new build, you didn't have like the competition, like someone was gonna bid on it and buy it right away, like you had.
Yeah,
Was that right? Like,
it was actually funny how it worked out because like, they have a priority list like
yeah.
any place. And but when we were finally ready to pull the trigger, we were already at like the top, like it was there, the base price was at like 700 even. And
Mhm.
that was at the top of our, because we knew that we'd want to do like, design packages and all that, that would increase
Yeah.
it. So I knew that that was at the top of our base. And so I was a little worried. I was like, oh my God, if we don't get into this phasing, then we're going to be priced out of this place. And
Mhm.
we just stayed in like, the sales associates for Beazer are phenomenal. Samantha and Brian are like, they're like friends. Like we text them all the time. They're constantly giving us updates.
That's
And
awesome.
we were in constant communication with Brian, basically like letting him know, like, we really want in, like, we're all in. This is the model we want. And that model was actually like someone was going like signing the contracts for pre-approval and he was like, they have until Sunday to drop off the check. If they don't drop it off, you guys will be the first people that will call, even though we weren't at the top of the priority list.
Mhm.
And just by chance, these people ended up decided to not go with it, never dropped off a check. And then Brian called us that week and was like, it's ready for you if you want it. So we were able to get in like right at the nick of time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you like Beezer's the builder? Did you do any research on the builder, or was it all like before kind of even going to see the townhome, or was it just based on location? Like, how did that kind of all play out for you
So
guys?
before seeing it, our realtor Aaron set up like the path and just sent us listings.
Okay.
And so I didn't do any research on the builder. I just saw it was like a new build and I was like, I definitely want to see this. And it was in
Yeah.
a location that we were interested in. So that's
Yeah.
why we wanted to go see it. But then after we were interested, I did a little research on the builder and and our realtor also had experience selling. He has experience selling like resale homes and a lot of new build homes. Like
Yes. Like once you get in the home, like how do you see your life changing now that you're in this, now that you own a home? Like, are you,
oh my God, like
well, I'll
sevenfold.
let you answer
We're going from like a 1 bedroom apartment that we both work from home in into like a 700 square foot 1 bedroom apartment we both work from home in into a
that.
1,700 square foot 2-story home.
Right.
So it's like
That's
we're
awesome.
we're so excited. Like our original goal was one, we just like have to get out of this apartment and like we wanted to get in the game. We wanted to gain equity. We just got married in 2022. It felt like the logical next step and we want to try for kids. So it feels like our plan for this home is to stay in it for around like 7 years and
Yeah.
then see where the market's at and see if we can move into like a nicer detached home.
Why 7 years? That's like very specific.
Well, it felt 5 years felt like a little bit like not super doable as far like I don't know, it feels like within 5 years you just like got everything exactly the way you want it and settled and
Yeah.
like and then 10 years I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend 10 years in a townhome.
So 7 was like the magic number.
Yeah. So I'm like
Yeah.
that's like a reasonable goal number, but we haven't even moved in yet. We already have $70,000 of equity.
Really? Now who told you that? Your sales agent or your realtor or who?
Well, this is just, and I could just, I could be incorrect in this, but the base price we paid 700 even. The base price for our home now is like 770.
Okay. And what would your mortgage, what'd you pay? Like, what's the mortgage rate? What'd you
Um,
get locked in there?
so we don't have a rate locked in yet. Like we don't,
Okay.
they don't lock in a rate until uh, like a month or two before. Which is good because when we got it, rates were high and they just like continued to climb. What
Yeah.
the company quoted us at, like they ran through like what our monthly payment would be all
Yeah.
in with, and they quoted us at the rate of like 6.87.
Hmm.
The way it's predicted is it's supposed to be below that by the time we actually lock in a rate. But
Okay.
all in our mortgage, all for everything, for like homeowners insurance, HOA, mortgage, um, all the things, it's like 6,000.
Okay. Okay. So what, uh, like if you had to narrow it down, because you're like, okay, it's a small, you're in a smaller apartment, you just got married, you might want to have kids or try for kids. Like if you had to narrow it down, what was the number one reason that you decided to buy? Like to stop renting and decided to buy?
Because we just wanted like we wanted a place where we can like really like plant roots and have, like know what our payment's going to be, not worry about it going up,
Yeah.
and be able to plant roots, be
Yeah.
not have to worry about ever having to look for an apartment again, or at least a home again, until we're ready to like buy again, and just feeling like getting in the game. It just feels like with California, like the prices are never ever going to go down, and you just
Hmm.
your foot in the door. I mean, the new home building experience has been wonderful. It's been very smooth so far. Everything seems to be on track. There are no delays. We're getting a lot of progress updates. I guess it's just nothing keeps me up at night, but the only concern I have is one, with the job market, volatility. Like we are trying right now to like have like 20 or 30 grand in an emergency fund. God forbid one of us got laid off immediately after closing. Like that's always a concern because
Yeah.
we're both in tech and you just never know what's gonna happen.
Yep.
And then other than that, it's just like how big of a difference the living cost is going to be between,
Hmm.
because we're paying $2,000 right now.
Yeah.
So it's a big jump. So just kind of like how we're going to be able to adjust.
Yeah. Have you guys talked about that? Like how are you going to adjust? Like or do you feel like you have to make sacrifices and what would those be?
Well, hopefully by the time we move in, like all of our debt will be paid off, so we won't have those payments. So that'll be good. So that'll be extra,
Hmm.
1,000 every
Totally.
month. And then yeah, we definitely will have to make some like living adjustments of like not going out to $500 dinners and ridiculous
Yeah.
things. I mean, we're definitely going to have to cut. The reality is we are absolutely going to have to cut back on travel, and we're going to have to cut back on like what we do when we go out. But we're prepared for that and we're like ready for it. We're both just like very ready to nest and decorate our home. It's
Oh,
like
I
all we
love
want to
that.
do.
Okay. I love that. How many of your friends, so you guys are like younger professionals, like mid 30s, late 30s, like, um, how many of your friends own a home or are looking to own a home?
A lot, actually. I'd say about half and half.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd say a even split own a home. And the ones who don't own a home are kind of in that limbo of like they don't know if they are in a position to buy yet. But I don't know, like with my experience with it, it's like you just got to do it.
You just
You
have to
just,
get in.
yeah, it's scary, but just do it and you'll adjust. And like the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah. It's like I've heard a lot of people talk about like, oh, we're gonna wait and like time, like see, they're not saying they're gonna time the market, but that's essentially maybe what they're trying to do is like they're just gonna sit back and observe. And most like industry professionals or realtors are saying like, don't do that, right?
Yeah,
Like no one can time the market.
right.
So it's a little scary proposition to try to do that,
And
you
I
know.
think that's kind of what we were trying to do until it got to a point of like, we just need to do what's right for us.
Yeah.
And that's right for us. And that's what this is.
Right. There's like no, I've heard a lot of realtors and brokers say like there's really no like the right time for you to buy is when it's right for you, like
Mhm.
in your family. There's really no other time that's good, right?
Yeah.
You just have to
Yeah.
do what's for you.
And like for living out here in California, it is so expensive and you do have to make a pretty abrupt lifestyle change once you do it. But I think at least for me with my friend group, like we're all in our like mid, like, in early to mid to late 30s range. And all
Yeah.
of us like spent a lot of time like traveling and doing all kinds of like fun stuff all the way up until now. So I think we're all in that shift where we're kind of ready to like start like planning a family and like want and like tuning it down a bit so we can have like a nicer home life.
Yeah, I get it. Um, did you feel any pressure at all? Like when you hear like your friend groups talking about like, oh, I bought a home, and then the next person bought a home. Like, do you feel any sort of like influence or pressure to kind of pull the trigger sooner?
Oh, for
Or
sure.
did you feel any of that?
Well, for sure, because it's also just like so exciting, like getting out of like apartment living and even into a townhome. It's like so much more space.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to watch your friends go through it. And then it's not necessarily pressure. It's just something that you like want for yourself. And you're like, oh my God, I need to get in now.
Was, oh, you're engaged. Oh, you're married. Oh, you're having your first child or your kid, a baby. And it's like, there's always like, what's the next kind of milestone? And it seems like home ownership is one of those milestones.
Yeah.
Maybe not for everybody, but it definitely is for me and for like my group of friends, like influence, it was for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was the next milestone for sure. Well, I think it's been a milestone for a long time. Like,
Totally.
and my husband is a little older than I am. He's 40, so he was really, really ready to get out
Yeah.
of like apartment living and wanting to like own property.
Right. Right. Okay.
And also because actually his parents never owned a home. So this is actually his first time ever being in a home that's like his.
Wow, that's awesome. And why? So, what was his parents' experience?
So his mom came over here from Korea, with his dad, and his dad was in the military and moved around a lot. And I think
Hmm.
his parents just, they weren't like great at like financial planning, and I think that they had the opportunity a couple times to buy a home, but his dad always found a reason not to. So I think a lot of that just like waiting, trying to find the absolute perfect scenario.
Okay. What is the new home builder doing to make you feel comfortable throughout this whole process?
Yeah, the new home advisors, the sales associates, Brian and Samantha, they text us photos of the progress like every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, between 2 weeks and once a month. They're always texting
Mhm.
us photos to see where we're at. They're in constant communication with us, asking like, we go up there like pretty frequently. One, because his mom lives up there. So
Yeah.
anytime we go up there, up to Oceanside to visit his mom, we always like bop in and see what's going on. And I
Yeah.
have like big visions for what I want this place to look like. So I'm bringing in like painters and all kinds of people into the model to see
Okay.
quotes and stuff like that. And the sales people, Brian and Samantha, are also hooking us up with those people. Like, we're able to get a wide range of contractors between like someone I find on Angie's List, someone our realtor recommends, and someone like the sales associate recommends.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you choose options already? Like you went in and into
Yeah,
their
so
like design studio
the
and
only thing that I wish was a little different about the way Beazer did it is like with their townhomes, it's not like a design studio where you're like, I want these countertops, this paint, this, that, this flooring. It's like options 1, 2, and 3. And
yeah.
within those options 1, 2, and 3, you have like sub option A, B, or C, which
Hmm.
is like this countertop, this flooring, this cabinet color.
Yeah.
So I'm not, so we went with like the highest premium upgrades, because by the time it's rolled into your mortgage, the cost difference between the middle tier and the top tier was like $90 a month. So,
Hmm.
and the like the quality difference was big. Like the cabinets are all real wood cabinets versus that thermofoil cabinets.
Yeah. How do you know all this? Where are you getting your inspiration from?
Pinterest, Instagram, and I also just like really love interior design.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of interior design shows, and I just have like a very specific taste and like,
Yeah.
vision and aesthetic that I'm going for. And my art direction partner at my job now, he does interior design on the side, so he's also helping me.
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else about the experience, good or bad, that I didn't ask you that you want to share that you think would be helpful?
No, literally the only thing that I wish was different is I wish that I could have picked like mixed and matched finishes a little more.
Yeah.
And because I would have just left the cabinets white. So I only had to paint the kitchen cabinets and not all of them,
Yeah.
as opposed to like being stuck with like such a, you know, preconceived package. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's been a great process. We'll see how it goes. We just got uh uh conditional approval. So now we have to go back in and redo all of that and choose a lender. So I think that that's our next step is we'll probably end up going with the lender that we got through them because they're
Hmm.
off $10,000 in closing costs, which is a pretty big deal.
Yep.
So unless we can find a better deal than that, well, that's probably what we'll end up going with. But yeah, other than that, it's been like really smooth and really great.